Hey everyone, and welcome back to the Taylor Blueprint. I'm, of course, your host, Jaden Hughes, and today we have a very special high school student doing some work with us this summer. Thanks for joining me, Ayishman. Just to start, could you just tell us a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, of course. I'm Ayushman Mukherjee. I go to Revere High School, and I'm going to be a junior next year, and I'm interning here at the UA Marketing Department.
Just to make this a little bit easier, I'm going to remind you guys about myself also. I'm a sales and marketing double major, and I am going to be going into my sophomore year, and I'm helping, of course, with the Taylor Institute and everything. But today we're just going to ask some questions. We're going to take a deep dive into the key differences between high school students and college students, some helpful advice for incoming freshmen, and just an overall basis of life here at UA.
So, a bit about that last point. My schedule every day during the school year pretty much looks the same. I mean, I get up at like 6, I go to school by 7:30, and classes end around 2:40. So, most days I usually stay after for about an hour for stuff like school clubs. So day to day, my agenda is pretty set in stone, and honestly, it gets a little bit boring. So I'm asking all of this because what's your schedule like now that you're in college? Is it like different because of classes or?
Right. So the schedule changes every semester. You can kind of pick of how you want your schedule to be, just as long as you register on time. The earlier, the better. It's pretty much like a first come, first served basis. There's been instances where I've gone and registered for a class and it's been completely full, or like they only have the morning ones, they only have the afternoon ones, and like vice versa. Um, this upcoming semester, my schedule's a little bit different. So I have classes pretty much all week, but Monday and Wednesday, I'm here relatively all day. And then my Tuesday, Thursday, I have zero classes at all. So I can work all day, catch up on stuff from the days prior. And then Friday, I only have one class. So you can kind of divvy it up. And then this year, I'm going to see how this schedule kind of works with mine. And then we'll kind of like go from there. But this is something new, and we're going to see how that works. But yeah, it's compared to like high school, where it's like a set in stone schedule. It's something to adjust to, and it's something to get pretty used to.
What could we find you doing on campus when you aren't in class? Or even what does your off campus downtime look like? A lot of my time at home is spent on homework, projects, or studying, so
Yeah, we have a lot of stuff on campus to do for like downtime, like quiet study areas, the game room, and various other fun aspects to make the campus feel more homey and not just so like academic setting.
yeah.
Um, I work on campus also, so like the campus jobs offer a lot of flexibility that make you feel a lot more comfortable. It's very nice not having to leave campus to go to work, like coming right out of a class and immediately rushing to go somewhere. That helps a lot. But the opportunities that it opens up is also extremely major, and one of the key differences between like just having a regular part-time job. I work for the Department of Marketing as a student assistant, as you know. I host the podcast, as you know. Um, Everything with Polsky I relatively help with, but the people you meet and the doors that it opens up, you can't access anywhere else, and you get to attend various events and network with people that you maybe not have been able to before.
Yeah. So, what do you think is your favorite like work aspect of your job here on campus?
I would say my favorite work aspect that I enjoy here, like I mentioned before, the people that you meet and
Yeah.
just sort of the family oriented environment that we have over here in Polsky. It's not widespread, and it's something really unique to us,
Hmm.
and it just makes you feel that much more comfortable when you're a student here and when you're an employee here.
Makes sense.
Yep. So every high school is different. What's your favorite and least favorite part of high school?
So, at my high school, we have a lot of clubs, and one of the like most important ones that I'm in is speech and debate. And I do that with all my friends, so getting to go out to different schools every week and hang out with people from both my school and other schools is a nice break from what I think is like my daily routine. And that part is probably my least favorite part of high school, the daily routine. Doing the same thing every day gets old, and sometimes I just wish class would end a little bit earlier. I mean, our periods are only like 50 minutes long, but still, you know? So, being able to pick your classes and all, what made you choose your major? Did you always want to do this, or did you have like a eureka moment, or like what?
Yeah, so my story was like a little bit different than everybody else, where they kind of came in and had, something set in stone that they've always done, and like they immediately knew what they wanted to do. But So my original plan was to be a mechanical engineer. I had a internship experience in high school, and it was one of those moments where you kind of realize maybe I can't do this for the rest of my life because everything can sound great on paper, even like when you're discussing it in classes and when you're doing research about it. But it's until you get into that real world work environment where it shows you and it can teach you, can I do this for the rest of my life or can I not? And that was one of those moments. And so when I after that 8 week internship, I realized like, hey, I have a background in sales and marketing my entire life. Why not try to make a career out of it? So trying to make this a profession was a lot more comfortable for me because like I didn't just want to be stuck in a desk for the rest of my life and just be like tethered to that one job. And I'm not the greatest at math, so doing something like that for like I'm like I
That makes
can't
sense.
see myself doing that. And even my peers and other people that I know, they even said like you're made for so much more than that. So this was definitely a gateway where I was like, yeah, this is something that I can see myself doing for the rest of my life. Are you thinking about Akron? And if so, what career or major is interesting you so far?
So for careers and majors, I'm thinking about going like generally into pre-med or biology or chemistry, something like that because personally I've always liked science more than anything. I remember when I was like a bit younger that I would always go to our local Barnes and Noble and my mom would pick out anatomy books or just general science books for me to read. And I guess that's where I got my interest from. And this past year, I think I did pretty good in my bio and chem classes, so that also gives me some more just like mental support that yeah, I should probably go into a science field more than anything. Also, U Akron has pretty much always been on my radar because one, it's close to where I live, and two, because I've seen its facilities, and here we have really good facilities. So I think that with all the advanced tech and the intriguing things that I could do here, I would have a great time. By the way, I was looking through my Instagram when I saw a Taylor Institute account. Do you know anything about that? And how much do you personally interact with social media?
Right. So as the student assistant for the Department of Marketing, I help run the UAC and Marketing Instagram and the Taylor Institute accounts. I help make posts, stories, etc., and I share them across all platforms because they go directly to our Facebook page also. Um, but you sometimes utilize it elsewhere on campus. Like if I have a social media post that I have set to like go out at a certain time, I'll just have it posted, and then I might check my phone here and there. But relatively for like classes, not really. The number one thing that like you don't want to do is be on your phone the entire time. But um, with you possibly being here for just like a few short years, are you excited or nervous about going to college?
I'm really looking forward to being able more or less to go where I want and when I want instead of having to check back with someone each time. And also meeting new people is going to be a great opportunity for me, not only to build my network, but just to, like make more friends. Because I've heard from a lot of people, especially people who have graduated, obviously, that the transition from high school to college, you lose a lot of the friends that you thought you were going to keep. And it might be a bit backwards from what I just said, but I'm also nervous about having to navigate the world as an adult because I'll be held completely responsible for basically whatever I do and for all my actions. So I'm also gonna have to be a lot more careful in what I do. And also, I guess I'm a bit nervous that educators might not be as lenient because of that. Because I'll be an adult, and you have to hold adults to a higher regard than you do like high school students. So, in the world as an adult, what's a lesson that you learned from college that you use day to day?
Yeah, so I would say one thing I learned rather quickly is not everybody is like you. You have your expectations and you have your standards that like you kind of set for yourself, either professionally or just even like personally. But you can't expect people to be 100% on the same level as you in a sense, and almost like the same mindset as you. Um, you Everyone is different, and so if you could um, you can kind of differentiate that from why you want to make yourself different and
Yeah.
try to figure out what'll make you stick out. Another follow up question is if you could change one thing about your school or even stuff you've seen on other campuses, what would it be?
I'll probably talk about my school more because even in general, I'm a lot more familiar with high school than I am college. I wish that people wouldn't act so exclusionary and intentionally like make other people outcasts. I know that if you make like one mistake when you're little, as someone else might see it, it could stick with you throughout elementary school and middle school, let alone high school. And I think a lot of people are so focused on what other people think of them because they don't want to be excluded like that and made the outcast. And because of that, I think it's really hard to make real connections. I remember that through a mutual friend who I was really close with back then. I had another friend that I met a few years ago. When I fell out with our mutual friend, the other friend went and started saying pretty mean things about me behind my back. Now, I didn't really care because we weren't really close with each other at that point in time, but I know things like that can really take a toll on some people's mental health, which sucks.
A follow up question, piggybacking off of that, what kind of future do you think the generation is walking into, and how do you see the students from your school adapting? I know, at least for my high school, it was very mixed, where we had some freshmen that were like, already knew what they wanted to do, they were really ready to rock, and then we had some seniors that walked the stage that were like, I have no idea what I'm doing. So, like, what do you think is the future for kids coming up, and then even the kids behind you?
They do know what they want to do, but they haven't started making actual steps towards that, which I think is probably the most important part of that because you can think and dream about something all you want, but if you don't do anything, it's not really going to like come towards you on a silver platter. And then of course there's the people who don't care at all and then are just riding out the wave. I think that most of my grade is in the first two categories in that they know what they want to do and they're actively working towards it, or they know what they want to do and they either don't know how to work towards it or aren't working towards it right now. And I don't really talk with anyone in the third. So, in trying to do really well at school and pursue a potential future career, I think a lot of people, especially in high school, get burned out. How do you keep your motivation to progress without losing too much speed?
The number one thing that I would say is just keeping in mind that the small wins are also just as important as the big ones, especially in the academic sense. The ability to utilize these key stepping stones in progressing in your career professionally and academically, that's pretty much all the motivation that you need. The I know me personally, utilizing the campus work and my classroom work, being proud of your doings and your creations will keep adding fuel to the fire, and that works better than anything, any motivation ever will. If you could leave a message to your future self in 5 years from now, what would you say? And what's one thing you hope you never lose about yourself right now?
Okay, so to me in the future, I hope that you're doing something that you love because I know a lot of the time I do stuff that I don't necessarily like, and that's because it contributes to eventually doing something that I will like. And if pre med or science hasn't worked out, then I hope you found something even better. And I don't want you to have lost the passion that I get when I work on something that I'm really interested in because I know that those topics are the ones that I don't burn out for. I want you to want and to use the lessons from the past 5 years to eventually achieve greatness, whatever that might look like for you. Most of all, I hope that you're healthy and financially stable and maybe just a little bit taller.
All right, thank you so much. So that's a wrap. Thank you so much for watching. As always, I'm Jaden Hughes.
And I'm Ayushman. Be
Be
sure
sure to
to follow us at the UA Marketing account and, of course, Taylor Institute on Instagram. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you all in the next one.